Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. Today we're going to be talking about word of mouth marketing. And before we jump in, I want to encourage everyone to be interactive. If you have questions, if you have comments, over in the right-hand sidebar, you'll see a little area to leave those questions. So at the end of today's presentation, we'll leave some time for Q&A, but throughout things, if you have questions, jot those down, enter those, and we'll make sure to try to address all of those on today's webinar. And even if we can't, we'll follow up with you individually afterwards and answer any questions that you might have. So again, thank you for joining us. My name is Brad Smith. I'm the CEO and founder of BARQAR Marketing. We are a marketing firm that focuses on helping companies drive visibility online and generate more inbound leads. So we do everything from website development to search engine optimization, blog writing, social media management. We even have developed a great tool to help companies get testimonials and build more online reviews to help drive more inbound traffic. So again, we focus on marketing across the board, but our core specialty is really on online marketing and increasing your online visibility. Joining me on today's call is our Director of Marketing, Tony WIDGET. Tony comes to us with over 15 years of very senior level marketing experience at some of the world's largest organizations, international organizations. He also has some great experience on the local level, working with small local employers and even some startups. So he brings a real nice perspective to today's presentation. So Tony, thank you for joining us today. All right, let's jump into today's agenda and what we're going to cover. We're going to talk a little bit about the value of word of mouth marketing and why it's so important in your sales and marketing mix. We'll talk about how this has evolved pretty quickly recently and how word of mouth is really transitioning. We'll talk about new online platforms for reviews. We'll talk about how reviews impact search rankings and whether or not you're even found when somebody's looking for the services you offer. We'll talk about how to deal with negatives. So unfortunately on the internet, it's not all positive. Sometimes you're gonna deal with a negative person, and we'll give you a strategy for how to overcome that to make sure that it doesn't negatively impact your business too much. We've got a great, well-defined 6-step process for generating more business reviews online and spreading that word of mouth online and making it go viral. We'll outline what review sites are most important. We'll share some case studies of local businesses that hopefully will resonate very closely with you, and you'll learn some lessons there. And then again, we'll leave some time for Q&A. And one question I frequently get right off the bat are, is today's presentation going to be available? Can I get the slides? And yes, at the end of the presentation, I'll leave my contact information. So please reach out to us. We'll be happy to share the presentation slides with you and answer any questions that you have that might be specifically relevant for your business. All right, so to talk a little bit about word of mouth traditionally has been a huge business driver. And as recent as November 2014, Razorfish, a great research company, did some data, and they looked at across the world where word of mouth really has an impact. And if you look at this, and we're going to focus just on the US here, word of mouth is extremely influential. 76% of people report that word of mouth impacted their purchase decision. So more than 3 out of 4 people are impacted directly by what others say. And that's spread online too. So online reviews from other consumers impact their business decisions, so 69%. And then you tack onto that, 25% of people are swayed just by social media posts. The impact that word of mouth, both on and offline, has on business decisions is huge. And Tony, I know we talk about this all the time, but word of mouth has a huge impact on the bottom line too. So I know we have some statistics here. Would you mind walking through these a little bit?
No, my pleasure. Word of mouth, as studied by a company called Market Share, has been shown to improve overall marketing effectiveness by up to 54%. And what this means is really optimizing your return on investment for the money that you're putting into your marketing programs. As you saw on the last slide, it's a huge influence. Electronic word of mouth is right behind personal word of mouth. And really what it does is it bridges the gaps between awareness, interest, consideration, and sales throughout that process for your products and services to the audience that you're looking to reach. During that same study, the researchers found that a 10% increase in word of mouth translated into sales lifts up to 1.5%. And that 10% word of mouth increase is definitely an attainable number. You work to get additional exposure and additional engagement on your social media platforms, and to get that 10% lift is a very reachable goal that every business should have, especially when it translates into sales lifts up to 1.5%. But what's more is any positive word of mouth is almost guaranteed to have a positive impact on your business. In fact, again, the study by Market Share found that 84% of consumers reported that they take action based on personal recommendations. So to get people talking about your business in a positive way can have a significant impact on the number of people who consider using your business's product or service.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tony. And as Tony pointed out, it doesn't take much to see that 1.5% increase in sales. And you can get your customers, you can get your clients active on social and active advocates for your business to drive more referrals. And we're going to show you how to do that. So one of the challenges with doing just that is that traditionally word of mouth is very powerful, but it's limited. So let me show you an example. If you went out to dinner and you had a great chicken dinner, would you immediately go home and pick up the phone 100 times and dial 100 different friends and tell them how great your dinner was? Of course not. Those conversations happen organically, and you might mention it. So in that respect, that one-to-one personal word-to-mouth is limited. It's powerful, but it's limited. So what can we do to really amplify that? And the great part is it doesn't take much to amplify that, because people are now walking around with a proverbial megaphone in their pocket, in their smartphone. So you go to any restaurant, you go to any waiting room, you go to any business, and you take a look around the next time you're at the bank and waiting in a bank line. People are on their smartphones all the time. And what are they doing? Most of them are engaged in some type of social activity. Okay, so you can turn that word of mouth into reaching one or two people, from reaching one or two people into reaching tens of thousands, just by encouraging people to turn to social. And here's a great example of this. So as I was putting together this presentation the other day, I was looking for an example of somebody that was using social to engage with a brand or get recommendations. And it didn't take me long. This was probably the 4th or 5th update on my timeline. This is somebody I'm connected with. They were looking for a good drywall person or general contractor because they had a leak in their roof. It created some mold. They needed to get that remediated. They needed to get that taken down, and they needed it done right away. So what did they do? Did they go to the yellow pages? No. Did they turn on the TV to look for a commercial? No. Did they go to their mail to see what recent direct mail pieces came to them? No. They went online and they asked their friends. Why did they ask their friends? Because they trust their friends. Okay, they trust personal recommendations. They were looking for people to recommend somebody to come in and do this work. And what happened? 23 people responded within about 30 minutes to tell this person where to go to get this work done. 3 or 4 days later, the work was done, and this person went online and sang the praises. They went out and told their 489 people that they're connected with about how great this contractor was, and if anybody needs work, call this guy because he was absolutely wonderful. So this one conversation that took this person, 15 seconds to post, led to getting a recommendation for a provider, using that provider, getting things done satisfactory, and then singing their praises online. Huge, huge reach. So how do you do that? How do you get more of your customers, more of your clients, more of your patrons, more of your patients to engage with you socially and leave some of that same feedback? Well, it really starts with building your following. Okay, so if you don't have a strong social following now, put a little effort into growing that. We want to see a nice trend like we see on the screen here. This is from one of our clients who we engaged with beginning in March. And what we did is we used some strategies for building that following. First off, we encouraged their patrons, we encouraged their customers to like them on social, and we gave them a reason to like them. We didn't just say, hey, come like us, you're going to love, you love us, come like us. No, we explained to them the value that they're going to get out of liking us. We went out and built a very targeted campaign to quote unquote buy likes. So Facebook, let's take that as an example. You can reach out and you can buy likes. You can get in front of your exact target audience for pennies. So we can highlight people by their job title, by their geography, by their income level, by things that they like, their interests. So we can really refine and target the exact audience that we're looking to reach. And this can be very powerful for just about any type of business. We sent follow-up emails to customers. We encourage them to like their page. Some people include this on invoices or the bill that the server leaves after a meal. So there are a number of different ways to build your following, and look to employ as many of these as possible so that you can build a real nice, great, strong following so your social messages get in front of even more people. I mentioned value. So once you have a social following, you need to provide some value. And if you're looking to build that social following, you need to provide value. So think about what your audience is interested in. It's not all about you. So what you don't want to do on your business page is talk about how great and how wonderful you are. Nobody likes that. What you can do is provide some value to people. So this is an example of a post that I see value in. Over this past weekend, we're located just outside of Buffalo, New York. And this past weekend was miserable. It rained, it was cool, kind of ruined a lot of people's weekend plans. So what did this organization do? Well, they went on Facebook, and 8 a.m. Saturday morning, they shared 8 things to do on a rainy day in Western New York. This wasn't self-promotion. This wasn't saying, hey, come into my restaurant, or hey, come visit us. This was something of value. And what happened here? There were 64 people that liked it and 38 people that shared this on their own profile. So just because of this one post, they were able to get in front of tens of thousands of people because it went viral and people began sharing this content. This would have been great content for a restaurant to share, or a hotel to share, or a property manager to share. Now, does it have a direct impact on bottom line sales that day? No. But over time, this builds trust and it builds value. It drives traffic back to your website. So when somebody clicked on this article, they were taken back to this company's website where they could learn more about the services they offer. So it provides value. So think about what you can do to provide value to your social followers. Another thing that you can do is you can provide some incentives to your followers. Okay, so if somebody's following your business, give them some type of value. And here's a quick example. This is a restaurant that we work with, and we manage all of their social activities for them. So periodically we provide some incentives. So we don't overdo it. We don't all the time talk about promotions or provide incentives, but periodically, once a week, once every 2 weeks, we mix in something for their followers. So we're giving away a free appetizer on Mondays. Again, so that people can come in and see some value, engage with this, and what happens is followers are sharing this. So they're sharing it with their friends, they're sending it directly, and they're saying, hey, you want to go to dinner? Let's go get a free appetizer. Great social content and a great way to drive more people and more business. What you can do is periodically mix in some self-promotion. So word of mouth is great, and testimonials are great, and referrals are great. But if people aren't seeing those referrals or those testimonials, or they're just speaking word of mouth, it's reaching a limited audience. So let's take those great testimonials, let's get those online, and let's use those on your social platforms. So here are 2 examples. One's a restaurant, and one is a business-to-business organization, a staffing and recruiting firm. And Tony, I know that you're helping our clients kind of generate some of these and putting these into a nice social graphic. What's been the feedback so far?
The feedback has been great, Brad, and I think that the key to remember is that as you're providing value for your followers on your social media platforms, you can, as a business owner, you need to realize that they can also provide value to you. Social media can be very reciprocal in the relationship, and the businesses here and other businesses realize that positive word of mouth is a great way to use that power of social media to promote yourselves. And really the beauty part about it is if you stop and think about how much more powerful this message from a peer or a fellow consumer is as versus the business itself telling you how great their product and service is, you can start to see how that word of mouth really gets amplified on the various social media platforms.
Terrific. Thanks, Tony. Another great way to use social media is to get in front of people that maybe don't know about your business yet or don't follow you. And Facebook in particular, I think, is a great platform, both on a B2C side and a B2B side. So here's a quick example that showed up in my newsfeed the other day. This is an insurance company. And what's nice here is that this company is targeting me. So they're targeting me because I'm friends with people that like their page. So they're running an ad campaign and they're saying, hey, show this ad to people's friends that like my page. So right off the bat, I see up top that 10 of my close friends like this company. Okay, so right off the bat, that builds trust. I see people's names that I recognize, and I know that my friends are engaging with this company, and that says to me, hey, this is a company that maybe I should engage with. This is also a very targeted ad that keeps the company top of mind with the exact right audience. So they're showing this to people that fit a specific age demographic or location or job title, even income level. So people enter all of this personal information into their social profiles, and for businesses, you can leverage this information to get your ad, your message in front of the right target audience. So let's say your goal is to drive more people to your restaurant. Think about your target audience. Who comes to your restaurant? Run ads for that. Let's say you're financial planner. Okay, you can target ads based on income level. I mean, where else are you going to get that targeted information to use? There's no other platform that provides that information. It's a great way to get in front of the people that you want to reach. Here's another great example. Again, this is a paid piece of content that this financial planner is using to get out in front of people. And if you look down at the bottom, you see that 76 people have liked this, 21 people have commented on it, and 39 people have shared this piece of content on their own profile. So they liked this piece of content so much, they wanted to share it with their friends. On Facebook, the average person has 338 friends. So if you combine all those likes, comments, and shares, it's 136 total shares, likes, comments. You might be saying, okay, 136 people, that's not huge. That's not a lot. But when you figure how many people that they actually shared that with, that they pretty much endorsed this company by liking the content or sharing it, almost 50,000 people. Okay, and the reach here for those 50,000 people was probably a fraction of a penny for each person. So really, really powerful stuff here. We're going to transition a little bit. So when you think of social media, oftentimes you're thinking of Facebook, you're thinking of Twitter, you're thinking of LinkedIn. But there's a certain segment of social media sites that people often forget about or they overlook. And those are review sites. So word of mouth, again, it used to happen one-to-one, used to happen offline. That's really transformed. Word of mouth is now word of Yelp, word of TripAdvisor, word of Bing, word of Google Places, so that those one-to-one personal conversations have come online. And there are hundreds of review sites out there. There are very specific review sites for different types of businesses. There are review sites for doctors, for physicians, for dentists, for financial planners. There are review sites for restaurants, for hotels and bed and breakfasts, for contractors. There are review sites for just about everything out there. Tony, walk us through some examples here, if you don't mind.
Sure, and as Brad said, when the term social networks is mentioned, most people immediately think Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest. But the fact of the matter is that there are many review sites out there that rival many of those prototypical social networks for both traffic and the social element. So, we can go down the list here briefly and talk about some of the activity here. You see Yelp. Now, Yelp, when people talk about review sites, that's typically one of the first ones that comes to mind. They've kind of been the granddaddy of review sites. In the past, they were used mostly by people reviewing restaurants, and that was the place you went to learn about your favorite restaurant. People, from a social element, connect with each other on Yelp. They like reviews that people post. They rate reviews that people post. And now Yelp has become not just a restaurant review site. You go on there now, you find attorneys, you find dentists, gas stations, landscapers, everything. So people are talking about every type of business in their neighborhood on Yelp. You take a look at TripAdvisor. Now, TripAdvisor is more focused on the travel industry, but TripAdvisor is a perfect example of the social community that exists within these review sites. And as you see, 85% of user questions are answered by other users within 24 hours. So that tells you a couple of things. People are interacting with each other as they would on a Facebook or on a Twitter. But it also tells you that people are getting the advice of other people. They're listening to the word of mouth. They're listening to the opinions of people who have been at a certain hotel or have used a certain airline or a certain car service. And that's pretty powerful stuff. Those are big numbers there we're looking at. Look at Healthgrades. Healthgrades has information on over 3 million U.S. healthcare providers. And an interesting thing about them is that the rating and comparison features of the site were first launched in 2014. And already there's 146,000 daily visitors to the Healthgrades website. So you can see, again, in the past when people thought about reviews and review sites, they thought often of restaurants, and even, in the case of TripAdvisor, hotels, or maybe your local corner business. But this is spreading. This is getting out now to healthcare practices. And as we see on the bottom site, we're talking about apartment ratings. So this apartment rating site has over 2 million reviews currently on the site. It also has a database that includes building features, rental prices, and Q&A. So people can go on there, and if I'm thinking about renting an apartment, I can go on and contact current tenants or past tenants of that apartment and get their opinions about where they're living or where they live. And again, this is powerful stuff. I mean, you're talking now healthcare and where I'm going to live, and those are obviously very important things in people's everyday lives, arguably more important than the restaurant they go to. So it stands to reason that these types of sites will continue to grow in the volume and the importance they play in the overall social and review landscape as well.
Yeah, Tony, and I know that there's a pretty influential study out there.
We can see that there's also a couple studies that have been done by Harvard. One in particular done by Michael Luca, who's a professor of business at Harvard. And in a nutshell, he found that a 1-star increase in your overall Yelp ratings can lead to a 9% increase in revenue. So this study was pretty focused on restaurants, and at the time that this study was done, restaurants still were the main component of Yelp's site. And this study focused on that aspect. So but in addition to that 9% increase in revenue that can come from a 1-star increase in your rating, one other interesting thing that really came out of this study was that the impact was seen almost exclusively in independently owned restaurants, which are generally more likely to go after their customers or ask their customers for reviews on sites like Yelp as versus a chain restaurant. And in fact, as Yelp becomes bigger and more reviews crop up on the site, large chains at the same time are losing market share. So what this suggests, the correlation here, is that reviews can often and do often outweigh the millions of dollars that large chains spend on advertising as far as effectiveness. And obviously this kind of harkens back to the slide we touched on earlier about marketing effectiveness and really the impact that those reviews can have on your business.
Terrific. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, Tony, very powerful study there. Reviews and social interaction even have an impact on search rankings. So I talk with businesses all the time about how to improve their search ranking and improve where they show up in search results, and a lot of it now is tied to social cues. So search engines are looking at how many reviews you get, what sites you get reviews on. They're looking at how many people follow you on social media sites, how many people engage with your brand and with your content on social. And those signals are signals to Google and Bing and Yahoo that tell them whether or not your business is impactful, whether or not you should show up in search results. So there's a really interesting study that was done by a company by the name of Moz, M-O-Z, and they're very big in search engine optimization and what's actually driving search results. And they put out each year this top 50 search ranking factors study. And the most recent study actually found that 8 out of the top 50 ranking factors, so what factors determine whether you show up at the top of Google results or your competitor does, are tied to reviews. And several other are tied to social interaction, so whether or not people are engaging with you on Facebook, Twitter, and others. So what I'm getting at here is that if you do want to rank well and you do want to be found when people are searching for restaurants or the services you offer, you need to get a hold of more online reviews. You need to engage your audience socially to drive those rankings. So this is all well and good, but we've talked about positive rankings. Unfortunately, you're gonna run into negative rankings at some point too. We see this a lot in the restaurant industry. Unfortunately, people are pretty picky over their food, and here's some examples here. Poor Fiesta Mexican Grill got a review that said, they're pretty sure dairy goes bad, and they think that this restaurant doesn't know that. Just bad reviews. And when you run into these, if your bad reviews are prominent, it's going to discourage people from coming to your restaurant or working with your business. And there's a few other examples here. Hotels, horrible hotel, horrible, horrible, horrible. Stay away if you love yourself. There's no way somebody reading this review is going to stay at your hotel. Bed and breakfasts. This particular person, Matthew, he even notes in his review that he's never even stayed at this place. Okay, but he left this bad review just because other people left bad reviews. How amazing is that? He didn't even stay there, okay? But he is swayed. He is impacted so much by other people's negative reviews that he feels compelled to leave his own negative review. Apartments and rentals. This is a big one. There's a lot of negative reviews. This is for a local apartment complex in the Buffalo area here. The first 3 reviews are 1 stars. They're horrible. Why would anybody ever go view an apartment at this place after reading these reviews? They wouldn't. Okay, so you need to get control of this. You need to make sure you have a plan in place. Realtors, same thing. Here's an example of somebody that went on and left a bad review because they weren't happy that the air conditioning in their apartment broke after they moved in. And instead of blaming the air conditioner, they're blaming the realtor. But people are reading this. They're seeing that this realtor has a negative review, and they see that negative review. So you need a plan in place to make sure that you can address these. And we're going to walk through quickly how you go about dealing with these internet trolls, people that are out there saying negative things, because you're going to run into it at some point if you haven't yet. So Tony, I know we've got a great 3-step process here. Would you mind kind of walking us through that?
Sure. The first step really is you have to know if there is negative feedback about you, and that requires listening. So, some of the things we recommend under the topic of listening is you need to claim your pages and set up alerts on the relevant social review sites or relevant social communities for your business. You also want to create a Google alert, so you can use the power of Google to track your business elsewhere online. So whether it appears on those social review sites or whether it appears in an article or a blog somewhere, Google will help you determine that and will alert you to those mentions of your business. You can use a monitoring tool or a service, and there are a few companies out there that can provide this type of service to you that will compile some of these mentions for you and put them into a report for you to keep track of. But really the big thing is get in the habit of looking. And we're not saying spend your every waking moment in front of the computer surfing and trying to find every little mention of your business. But your reputation is important, and you really should carve out some time to make sure that it's healthy. We definitely don't recommend ignoring that aspect of your marketing program. Number two is respond. So, and this really applies to both negative and positive reviews. Um, you know, you don't want to be defensive. You want to say thank you. We realize that that is hard to do, but really what you're thanking them for is the honest feedback. Essentially, whether that review is negative or positive, it's a form of free marketing research that you've just received. And it may be beneficial to you down the road, both negative and positive feedback. We do recommend you address the problem head on. Don't shy away from it. And outline how you have changed or how you've addressed the issue. Show that you've cared about that feedback, or when it's positive feedback, show that you appreciate that feedback and you'll continue to do those things. You want to always be sincere and honest, and you really, if possible, you want to take that conversation offline. Avoid the back and forth on the social networks where everyone is watching. To respond and to recognize the feedback is great, but to challenge and debate it online is not recommended because generally you will not win that battle. If you get too defensive, or if you go back at the negative reviewer, you will generally get people to go onto their side of things. Three is you want to go on the offensive. And we don't mean attack the people who are attacking you, but we mean getting out there with your own positive reviews. You want to get out there with all the positives surrounding your business. Be proactive. Don't wait until an internet troll comes along to make the case that you actually have top-level products and services. You want to do it now. You want to start building your reputation now. You can get out there with your customers' reviews, put them onto your social media sites, offer incentives to the employees of your company to go out and solicit these positive reviews, and showcase them. Showcase them on your website, showcase them in your social media. Do what you can to get that positive word out there now, and then the impact of any negatives later will certainly be lessened.
Terrific. Thanks, Tony. So a lot of our clients that we work with have trouble kind of doing this. So where do you go about getting these great reviews? And luckily, there's some technology and there's some processes to help. And Tony mentioned some programs to do that. We have a really strong process and program to help people do this. So we've actually developed a technology where we help companies get reviews, whether they have guests or customers on site, or if they do more business online, there's an email component. So really it helps kind of protect against internet trolls, improve search rankings, develop more testimonials, and really drive revenue. So putting everything we talked about today together in one piece. So I'm going to outline kind of our 8-step process for how to do this, and you can use many of these tools and strategies in your business, and this is actually something that we license too. So if it's something that intrigues you, it's a very low-cost tool that we offer. But basically what we try to do is ask people right up front, how do they feel about your service? How do they feel about your restaurant? How do they feel about the job that you performed? How do they feel about your product or service? We ask them. Okay, and this is done on site, it's done through an email, whatever works best for your customer base. And basically what we do is just qualify people. So we ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, or 0 to 10, I'm sorry, how would you rate us? And give us a short overview about your experience. And this does two things. It helps you benchmark your service, and it helps you define areas in which you can improve. It also helps you collect testimonials. So once we know that somebody had a great experience, we want to encourage them to leave a review. So in that last step, we qualify them first. So if somebody leaves an 8, 9, or a 10, we deem them promoters. There's somebody that might actively go out there and tell other people about how great you are. So then we encourage them to leave a review on a site that is relevant for your business. So we integrate with over 50 top review platforms out there, so we can drive traffic to whatever review site is most relevant for your business. But again, we're only driving people there that have already said they had a great experience with your business. So it increases the likelihood that somebody's going to leave a positive review. On the flip side, if somebody didn't have a great experience, we want to catch them before they go out and become a troll, before they go out and leave a negative review that can really impact your business negatively. So those people that left a rating that was either average or below average, Again, as Tony mentioned, we thank them for that feedback. Okay, we give them an opportunity to give us more information about how we can improve here. This helps protect against bad reviews because we're catching them before they go on to leave that bad review. And we're giving them a forum to voice their concern and let them know that this concern is directly going to upper management. So they're being heard and they don't feel the need to go tell 500 of their closest friends how much you stink. All right, then the next thing, and Tony mentioned this earlier, it's really important to listen. So part of the system integrates real-time feedback. So when somebody does leave that feedback, does leave that rating, you get that. And we also collect a testimonial. When somebody is out there leaving a review on Yelp or Google or Facebook, you get notified of that. Whether it comes through our system as a positive review or whether it's somebody that went on their own and left a negative review, you get notified of that so that you can take action right away. So when that interaction happens, you can go on to Yelp and you can respond and say something to the effect of, I'm so sorry about your experience, but thanks for sharing this. Here's what we've done to address the situation. So great way to stay on top of things. We also look to integrate these great ratings into your website. So before somebody chooses to do business with you, they'll often look at your website. They'll go online, they'll look at your menu, they'll look at what past customers or past patients or past guests have said about your business. And we want to pull all those great testimonials that we've gathered online. And the testimonial widget does that automatically, and we only showcase the good, not the bad. And then lastly, to stay on top of things, we provide a report. So you get a detailed report on the number of people that we've requested feedback from, how many people responded or opened that feedback request, how many people completed it, how many people left an online review. Down in the bottom, you see how many negative reviews that we've saved. So in this case, in this month, we've saved 1 negative review from showing up online. So pretty powerful report to show you how things are going. A question I get all the time, and one that we wanted to cover real quickly here, is what review sites are important. So we mentioned that there's hundreds of review sites and networks out there for a wide range of industries. Here's just a general overview, and I'm not going to go through each of these, but we've tried to break this down by some popular industries here and show you which type of review sites you should focus on. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at all of these, I will make sure that this presentation and this slide specifically is available, and I'll share my contact information here where you can request it. So to wrap things up before our Q&A session, Tony, there were just a few quick case studies, and I know we're over time here, so maybe we can breeze through some of these and just share some experience.
Yeah, I think we've obviously seen some really nice success stories so far with the BARQAR system. One is a local Indian restaurant called Tandoori's. Just some of the activity they've had. I mean, we've gotten, in only about 3 months, we've gotten 56 additional reviews that we've showcased or have been available for showcasing on their site. These have included 5-star reviews on TripAdvisor, Yelp, Facebook, but really more importantly, you can see on TripAdvisor, for instance, they went from the number 11 ranked Williamsville, New York restaurant to number 9. So moving up 2 ranks into the top 10, which is really the key there, in only about 3 months is really a great byproduct of these reviews and what they can do for the overall business. Moving forward, another customer, Mind Body Flow Yoga, in less than 2 months, we've gotten 30 online reviews for them, an average score of almost a perfect 5, which we've showcased on their website. There's been 26 5-star reviews overall that we've put on there. And again, this has helped them be found. People are looking for local yoga studios. These reviews as updated information and as positive information are helping them be found on Google search and on all the internet searches. And then lastly, Horizon Hospitality. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, they received almost 200 additional online reviews with an average score of about 4.2. 126 of them have been 5-star reviews that are showcased on their website. And that just makes a strong and really an effective impression on anyone coming to the site, whether it's clients or customers. I mean, talk about a first impression and what you want to see from a company that you're thinking about doing business with. Again, Scott Samuels, the owner of Horizon Hospitality, even says, one of the things that we touched on earlier, that these positive reviews have helped to bury some of the old negative information that may have been out there, and may have been put out there by those internet trolls. So.
Terrific. Thanks, Tony. Some powerful stuff here. And if there's one key takeaway that I want you to get from this, is that you can't sit back and wait. If you sit back and wait, you're going to let others control your online reputation. If you get out in front of that, you're going to position your company, your business, your practice, your property in the best possible light, one that you can control. So if you're out there and you see that 100 people shared positives about a specific business and 1 or 2 people shared negatives, those negatives are going to be drowned out. They're going to be overwhelmed by all the positives. So be proactive and build that positive interaction. So at this point, I have had a few questions come through during the presentation. I want to address those, and I want to encourage everybody that's on the call to use that question panel if you do have questions. I've shared also my contact information here. Please feel free to reach out to us if you'd like a copy of the slide deck, if you'd like a recording of the presentation to show anybody else, if you'd like to learn more about that review system that we highlighted. And don't be shy. We're happy to help. And if you have specific questions about social media or how to use it for your business or marketing in general, please give us a call. We're happy to provide some free consulting and free guidance for you to make sure that social media and review sites and social reviews really have a positive impact for your business. So let's jump into some of the questions. And this is kind of one of the questions that I get every time we do a presentation on social media. I was expecting it, but I'm glad it came in. The first question was, how do you find all the time? So the question was worded, I don't have time to do all this. What do you recommend? So, well, first and foremost is that it doesn't have to take a ton of time. There are a lot of ways that you can automate some of your social media marketing efforts. So internally here, a lot of companies, a lot of our clients outsource their social media to us. So we're actually going in and actively managing this for them. So that's one way. So there is an expense behind that, but it's a great way to have a very strong social presence without having to do it all yourself. But another way is to just look to automate things. So if you have a website where you're adding articles or content or anything like that, you can automatically have all of that content feed to your social media outlets. We use a tool called BUFFER app, BUFFER-APP. Great, really simple, easy tool. And what you do is you connect all of your social platforms. So you connect your Facebook page, your personal Facebook account, your Twitter page, maybe your LinkedIn status. You connect all those and give access in this one app, and then you only have to share content in one place. So you share that content and it automatically gets disseminated to your different social channels. So real great, easy way to have a strong social presence without having to devote a ton of time to it. All right, another question just came in. Does this work for B2B businesses, or is it just B2C? Tony, this is, I think, one question that you get asked a lot. So what's your take on this? Where is social media and where are social reviews more impactful, B2C or B2B?
Well, I think the impact can be seen in both models for sure. I mean, either way, the testimonial information and the review information that you put out there is going to help your business be found. And when your business is found, you want it to be positive. You want people to see that there are positive reviews and a positive feeling associated with your business, regardless of whether your customer base is the end consumer or another business. Your goal is still going to be to earn more of your types of customers for your business. So the B2B out there, your customers or other businesses, when they go to decide who they're going to do business with, they're going to look for their peers' reviews about their business options. So my feedback to that is that it's equally important and equally effective for all models.
Yeah, and even to building off that, as you were talking, Tony, I was thinking of one of our customers, or actually a Fortune 500 company, and they use the platform not B2B, not B2C, but actually B2E. So business to employee. So one thing that they're looking to do is position themselves as an employer of choice. So there's certain websites out there called Glassdoor and Indeed. So these are job aggregators. So they aggregate job listings from all over, but they also provide employees or potential employees or candidates with access or insider information about what it's really like to work at the company. So some of these companies are actually looking at this as a recruitment tool. So they want to hire the best and the brightest. They want people to get a good feeling for their business and what it's like to work for their business. So they're using it that way too. So I think there are ton of applications to be used across your company as a whole, B2B, B2C, to your current employee base. So there's a lot of applications here. Another question that came in is what social site is most influential, or where should I devote most of my time? This one is a tough one to answer. And the reason I say it's tough to answer is because it depends on your industry and depends on the type of business you are. Let's say you're a contractor. You're going to be looking at sites like Home Advisor. You're going to be looking at Angie's List. You're probably going to be looking at Facebook, maybe Google, so that when somebody's looking for a contractor online, you show up in search results. So on the flip side, let's say you're a physician or healthcare, you're going to be looking on different sites like HealthGrades. If you're a financial planner, you're going to be looking on other sites. If you're a restaurant, it's going to be Yelp or Zomato or TripAdvisor. So it really depends on your business. But I think the important thing is to look at your audience, look at where your audience resides and spends a lot of time, and then plan your marketing accordingly. So with that said, I think that brings us to the end of the questions here. By all means, if you do have additional questions that you didn't put here or would like to talk to us about any marketing challenges you have, or have any questions about our system or our offerings, please reach out. You can send me an email at brad.smith@barqar.com, or we have our 800 number here. You can also reach out to Tony by calling that same 800 number, and we are happy to help. I want to thank everyone for being a part of the call. We had a great turnout, so I'm really, really excited, and hopefully you've taken some value out of this call. And we hope you join us for future webinars, and we'll make sure that you stay on our list. And if there's a specific topic that you'd like us to cover in one of our webinars, please share that too. We'd love to cover that and help in any way that we can. Thank you so much.